Blade Rush. Oh, my bad. Right. Did that give anyone a notification that it was broadcasting on that one? Shit. Alright, well, we'll just go with my order for now. Alright. Okay. Alright. Let's, oh. Oh. We're gonna take us out and restart it, and then I want to begin with what I want to try to do is basically start it like a normal Rumble match, and then the second you shoot someone or get shot, just stop where you are. It's really hard to figure out like spawns on our own, so I'm gonna use the initial spawns as kind of a starting point. Mm-hmm. And then the second you take damage or give damage, you just stop where you are. Okay, we can do it too. Well, I'll be sitting in a corner, so there should be 2 engagements we can look at. And I mean, pretty much, yeah. And if you have a sniper, if you're gonna headshot them, just pretend you headshot them and don't actually do it. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And yell out their name and say, hey, close. Or tag them in the body.
Rumble.
Oh, I should wear pink. You know. I spawned back rock in our like boat, so I'm just gonna hide. Okay. That's me. You don't wanna fight me. Go fight someone else. Okay. Sure, that'll count. We'll go to, where was the first engagement? Okay. Okay, so Pyro was on B and Met. Okay, so you two were down there. So I'll play the part of Magic. Brazen was over, what, in the circle over here, right? Near A. Okay. So, if I'm Magic here, well, you were shooting with an Ace of Spades, Pyro? Okay. Shoot me, I'm assuming this is about where it is. Shoot me in the head and say how much damage it does. I want to see. Okay. So, that's a pretty good example. You have a hand cannon and a shotgun, and instead of giving away your position with something that you likely wouldn't be able to kill him. One, he was moving left to right and back into cover, so you gave away your position to him and potentially someone else coming up from like right here. So instead of doing that in that situation, you can close the gap on him before he knows you're coming. He might have his radar up, but I'm assuming he looked like he was on a mission to go fight someone else. So if we take that assumption and we take this route, he was what? Okay. Okay. Magic is the... Okay. 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 So, what I would, again, this is all in theory stuff. It's not as easy to think this much about it in the game, but typically if I see someone in that and like I have a kindled orchid, there's no way I'm doing 27 to him right here, and I have a chaperone. So if I see him making that type of move, I know he's about to be engaged with someone else or is looking to start another engagement. So in Rumble, for me, that means I can ideally clean up someone else's kill unless I didn't trade, and best case scenario, get both of them. So I would typically probably try to take this route instead of going straight across here. It's not like super analytical, but I want this piece of cover in case someone is coming up behind me, so I can sit here and take this line. They have a harder angle on me, as opposed to going this way. They have a straight shot for my entire straight line. So if Magic, can you go towards where you were when you got shot? So if I take this line, I have two options. If I saw he's moving left to right, I can go over here and try to clean up the person he was originally going for anyway, instead of Magic. Or go straight to Magic, and ideally you would want to take this route. If you have no red on your radar around here, you can do it, but you open yourself up to someone coming from river. There's a lot of cover in this area, so it's less punishable than other spots on the map, but that's basically the route I think I would take that if I were in that situation, so I can get into hand cannon range or slide into them in shotgun range. And right when I'm about here, I want to look for radar ping while I'm in sprint. And if I see they're still on like the outer part of my radar instead of a slice of pie, I know that they're still not in shotgun range. And out here, it's not very favorable to make a shotgun push because they'll be able to hit you as you're running to them from a pretty far distance. So you'd want to be in a spot where you could ideally use your hand cannon, and since you have ace, it's a little counter. You want to create space from him being able to push you with like Illumina or something like that. So if you're like right here and they were engaging over like further back, let's say about this rock, that's okay. And the other advantage you have from that is that you have 4 or 5 different pieces of cover to run back to. And if you think you're going to lose an engagement or you see someone else coming up on your radar, you have a lot of options. So let's say Brazen is the one that lived and he's sitting right there. And he's got Luna or something, and I know I'm going to lose this gunfight. I can slide over here to at least break the sight line from him. And if he pushes, I can kind of run this way, and I'll still have more cover to go to. So every time you move, if you're in a situation, especially with low health, you just want to think, all right, where's my next cover? Or where's the place that I can defend myself the best? And there's so many breaks in the sight line in this area that you have a lot of options. That's just the first one that I could kind of see. The thing you don't want to do, I would say, on this map in Rumble is this spot's not terrible, but this is a really good spot to demonstrate like how punishable this map can be, because you have people that can come from dark, and if someone's from dark, they have an escape option and 2, but they open up into high traffic areas, so they're pretty much going to push out this way. If they're coming from that way, they're just going to keep going straight through, and they can, so like, let's say someone's up here and like you're trying to fight someone in opening doorway, whatever you want to call that, or caves or heavy. Like, it seems like a decent sight line for heavy, but if you're standing up here, there's a cave entrance there that they can shoot you from, there's elbow, there's cave, there's shrine, there's dark. So like all the sightlines you get can be used against you. And in Rumble that's super important. Because instead of having like, if this were 4v4s and your team was spawning up in A, you wouldn't have to look back there. But now that it's Rumble, you've got 5 people just all against each other. So if they see red and you're standing here, say someone shoots you from elbow and you want to escape, well, there's probably going to be someone coming from B to go into dark, or there's a higher chance that someone can cut you off wherever you want to escape to from here. So I try to avoid this spot as much as I can. And I definitely try to take advantage of it when other people are there. Sorry, I got a cough for a second. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So it. Sorry. Yeah, and basically. So Rumble. Speaking specifically to Rumble, we'll transition into probably some T-play here in a second. But the thing about Rumble is you kind of just have to change your state of mind, as is evidenced by just having more enemies and no teammates. So like, while like I might have a spot that I go to routinely if I'm playing Control on here, I can't necessarily do that. But the advantage that it has is once you start thinking about these sightlines in a Rumble kind of game set, it really helps out, and especially 4s when spawns can flip pretty often. I mean, this game obviously doesn't have a perfect spawn system, so once you start getting escape routes down in a Rumble game, they translate really well to 4s. As far as like when to push, I want to before I get into that, is there a part of like this map or Rumble that anyone wants to like specifically touch on? Yeah. What's up? Okay. So that's probably about a 6. That's a really good example. But here. Yeah, so that's a really good example, and another reason why, like, so sitting in Rumble, I think it was talked about a little bit in the Discord, but like sitting still waiting for something to happen is very much the wrong thing to do in Rumble. It's a race to who can slay the most. So if I'm here and I also see red in Shrine as the enemy, I'm for sure waiting for you to come out. Like, I don't think there should There's might be 1 out of 10 times that I'm not, but let's make the assumption basically every time that the person on the other side of this wall is waiting for you to come out and has their shotgun ready. Never push that corner. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't go through that door at all. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, exactly. That guy's in. He put himself in a really bad position. His only advantage was watching that door, and then the second you leave that, he no longer has an advantage. So you can flip the lever, like you can flip it on him and make him make his good decision originally, if you were to come out that door, and turn it into a really bad decision. To your left. Okay. Yeah, I would take that fight. Okay. Yeah. So can someone go to shrine? Okay, right there, if you can see one shooting. Right where my smoke grenade is. No, don't stand in that. You're gonna die. Okay. So yeah, whoever's standing there now, come out a little bit so that you can see me and I can see you. Yep, right there's good. Okay, so you're saying, so if you came around and I'm sitting here, I probably spawned here because it's a pretty common spot. So I come up, I'm kind of screwed if I want this sight line. There's not really, it's super punishable in terms of, like, I can't get the cover. So if you're really good with your shot, it's a good time to engage this person. But if they're over here and like behind this rock, you want to basically ignore me, retreat to future victory. You don't want to engage this, because if you see where you are here, you, like, say I get in a gunfight right here, I can move side to side, but it's going to take you a full second to get to any sort of cover. Or retreat back to where you know there's a guy waiting with a shotgun. So, back to what Marcus was saying, like, when you make that decision to do that, even if you see like a spot on your radar to the left, in most cases I would just make a note of that and then keep running still. So if I saw that red, I'm gonna come to here, I'm gonna look here first to see if that guy knows that I'm here, if the guy on the original rock knows that I made that flank, and then use the rock as cover. If he didn't see me, I'm then gonna turn back to see the guy that was over here by C. I basically want to, if two people are looking at you, you're kind of screwed, especially in this scenario, because you're the center. So to avoid that, like, you can always just get to this rock here and not even engage the guy in the Titan, and then engage, or the rock, engage the guy out here. But the risk is you don't know if this guy noticed your flank. All in all, I still think that's probably the best transition move you can make. And then let's say you have a pulse rifle or something longer range. You can come out to this side too, and not a lot of people hang out on these steps, so you should be generally alright. But you can come out to here as like a regrouping session if you see it a situation that's unfavorable to you, you know there's probably gonna be people spawning up over there, or coming through dark, or from B to shrine. So you can use that to your advantage. The risk and rumble with that is you're not gonna get that many kills while sitting here. You're waiting on traffic, but it's a really good spot if you know someone has like a roaming super or an overwork, especially if it lasts a really long time. You get really long sight lines. You can use cover right here for the guys in dark, and you can use this pillar pretty effectively for anyone that spawns up over there near C. So it's definitely loadout dependent, but given your ace of spades and shotgun, this would be the move. Let's come right through here and try to get eyes on the guy from a different angle. Yeah, you'll have to take that fight. Yeah, and so that actually brings. Yeah. And that actually, what you're talking about there leads into another really good point, is like which weapon you have out when you're making that escape. So presumably you had your shotgun out waiting for this guy or thinking about pushing out, and then you come back. I would switch to my hand cannon as I'm turning around from inside a shrine, and I would start kind of sprinting, or even not sprinting, like just walking fast if I had to, and looking for that ping. And if I don't see a ping, I'm not switching back to my shotgun. But if I see a ping, I'm noting if it's close, if it's far, if I need to go back around, or if it's to my right. If they're in cave, I'm taking my shotgun out. My hand cannon's useless now. So you have to make that decision. I don't even know it that well. Until I see a radar ping. Yeah. Right, so, okay, so if I'm here, say I'm in a full sprint and I get to here, and I don't see a radar ping on my left or my right, I'm just beelining it into the cave. Like, if there's someone out in range out there that just didn't jump on a radar because they're too far away, they're not going to kill me by the time I get in the cave. So I can take those hits. But if I see a ping on left, I'm keeping my hand cannon out, ready to engage at a somewhat reasonable distance. But if I see a ping on my right, I'm switching back to my shotgun, and I'm going to push that guy pretty much, like, not full sprint, because I want to be able to slide, wait for him. And ideally, you've made this turn to where you know where the rocket's going to be and all that sort of stuff. But if he's out in the open, like in this section, let's say he spawned up or something like that, like, you can make that push, and it's just on you to win it. There's not too much that you can do about that type of 1v1. Yeah. That situation is, because if that guy, especially if the other guy is pushing you from behind you, like, you just have to keep going, and you have to win that one in front of you. And this is a much more favorable point of attack for you than coming through the tiny doorway. Yeah, and statistically, like, if you miss, one of the things I heard, I forget who said it, but it was like, back in the Halo days, it was like, when I'm playing a Rumble match, my entire goal is to trade every single time. And it's because they're probably going to win at least one of those trades, to the point where it's not a trade anymore, it's just a straight up win, and then after that, you've won the match. Because you're looking for gunfights and you're trading them. Yeah. But that's sort of the mentality. So you want to look for gunfights as frequently as you can, but you want to be able to position yourself where it's in your favor. And a lot of that comes from just, it's a cop-out in a way, with playing a lot of Rumble, knowing where people typically spawn, or let's say you're halfway through the match and you've heard Nuna's the whole game. You know what range they want to be in. And if you're good in that range, you stick with whatever loadout you have. If you're better at longer range or medium to long range, you can switch to a pulse rifle and beat them that way. It's just, a lot of it comes with the time and knowing that making the decision and moving is probably better than staying where you are, because everybody else, the really good players, are going to be moving, and they're going to be moving in generally unpredictable ways that, like, you can't, let's say I know a guy's been pushing the whole match. If I'm sitting here, like, it might seem like a good idea to watch him come in so I can shotgun him, but you can't really bank on that. So if I see a bunch of red, like, rushing me, like him trying to do that, I'm honestly probably going to leave that, because I have a decent position here, but I'm also kind of stuck. Like, I either have to go forward or I have to go backward. And I don't know if he's got a chaperone where he can slide, like, just enough in his range and not in mine. There are definitely people that are good at judging that, and you're running a risk, and it's basically a coin toss.
Only 5 minutes left.
So I would kind of back up. If he's still being an aggressor, I have, like, my hand cannon out and waiting for him, that type of thing. So it's making that decision, even if I could have won the shotgun fight, backing up to, I know it's counterintuitive to disengage when we're talking about trying to get as many kills as possible, but the whole point is the time that it takes to get back here and have a better advantage in the gunfight is a greater value, or the risk reward is better than getting killed and having a 3-second respawn timer and being on the other side of the map for other people to get killed by other people, if that makes sense. It's Ross. Yeah. Yeah, and even the other thing you can do there is, like, this is obviously very specific to this location, but this rock is here for a reason. You can use it, so you can slide to the left side of the rock. You suddenly have the same angle as you have right here, but if you're standing right here, you've got 2 more steps to go to either side of the cover. If you're on the rock right here, you have the same line, but you can move in, like, half a second.
3 minutes left. You're in the lead.
Yeah. It's very much... Yeah. So, if I'm running through, like, let's say this position, Eternity on Countdown is one of my favorite ones, where the pizza is. It's a really good... it's a really good example of the cover available and the sight lines available. Because with pizza, so, like, I have a list in my head. I don't obviously think about this. The gold block Huh? No, the gold block on the other, like, way down, way far down. Like, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, I can. Alter Flame. Oh, I love Alter Flame. Alter Flame is another really good example of just like random fucking cover, but sometimes it works in your favor. And sometimes it catches you and trips you and oh, this one's gonna suck. I don't think I would ever run a pulse and a hand cannon at the same time. I would sooner do a sidearm because I'm imagining what you're thinking is like even a distant short sidearm would be okay with a pulse because you can have not the same range as a hand cannon but longer than a shotgun and still have some kind of counter to a shotgun. Last Dance is still really strong. I know a lot of people don't use it, but I love it. And Anonymous Autumn is also really good if you got a fast trigger finger. But if you want to use a pulse, I'm not gonna. I really hate the pigeonhole idea. I could go into Rumble without a shotgun or a hand cannon and still have like some level of success while still having fun. So
Control.
Don't say like, all right, I need to have my shotgun on right now. If you play within your range,
show your enemy
a much stronger
you now.
strategy than playing with an uncomfortable loadout. So Pizza's that gold block down there. The pizza shape. Or cheese, yeah. So back in the trials days, I loved coming out here for a few reasons. A year ago, literally. For a few reasons. One is you have a few options in terms of lanes. Like, this is specifically for Countdown right now. But if I wanted to sit here and try to pick someone off, which I very rarely did, this is one spot. But the better option is to do something like sit behind cheese or pizza. Because right now, I have a much shorter distance to cover to get to cover than I would if I were sitting like right here. Because while yes, I could go left pretty quickly, but they also, the other team can very quickly come up this side of beach and hit me right here. So if they're coming from beach and I have to get back to cover because I'm laning here and I'm losing the gunfight, I can get to here, I'm suddenly blocked off from both sight lines. And it's not a revolutionary piece of cover. It's just the angle of it works really well into your favor. And then from there, you can, it's risky, but you can make this run over to here and get back to your team. But that's so like if I'm sitting here, let's say I go through a list of things, obviously this is in a theory type thing and not something I would think about while I'm playing the game. But, so I'll go through, I wrote a list down as range. You've got, am I in a position where I'm in my weapon's optimal range? Right now, if let's say I had Might on instead, yes, that's my optimal range. It's right there, and if I'm looking at beach, that's still pretty optimal. The second part of it is, am I in a position, yeah, still thinking year one pulses kind of sucked, but yes, even this blast furnace is still pretty good for this range. But the second part of it is, are you in a position where the engagement is within your opponent's optimal range? So you obviously got to think about it two reasons. Are they the same loadout as you, or are they in a position where they can push you with a better optimal range for them. So exactly what Marcus is talking about. If they come over to the side with a pulse rifle and I have Mida, I'm probably going to lose that gunfight. So that's something to consider. And then cover. So do I have cover protecting my blind spots? My right side, I'm not going to consider a blind spot because our team spawned there. So that's essentially covered. There's no way that by the time I get into a fight from the beginning of the match here that someone from the other team is going to be over here in countdown. But do I have cover for my other blind spots? So my left, if I'm laning here, my blind spot's my left. I don't have immediate cover, but I know my solution is to come here. So that's accounted for. Now, does the opponent have cover that can flank their blind spots, or cover their blind spots? So we don't really know that from this position here. We don't have the entire information. We can only see people in 2 lanes from here. But let's say someone's laning you back from, I think it's tabletop, I can't remember right now. From up there. And let's say your team communicated that you're all coming here. Like, no one's split up, it's just 4 of us coming to this side of the map. Their blind spots are kind of irrelevant at this point. If you were split and you have their attention, that's when you would take that into effect. Is like, I know anyone standing right there has no cover from there to dark. They'll just get shit on if they're hard scoping me. So that's something to consider, is you're not always getting someone's attention to win a gunfight, especially in something like Countdown. Is if I'm facing Marcus right now and my team decides to flank around that side and he's still focused on me, that they're going to win that gunfight. I don't have to win it. I just have to keep his attention. And then in terms of mobility for my cover, does any of my cover affect my vertical, horizontal, any type of ability to change positions? And that's one of the reasons why I love this spot, is there's absolutely no restrictions.
3 minutes.
I can go as high as I want. I can go in any direction I want, except, I mean, I could go forward, but there's no reason to really do that. But it's a really open position. I don't feel restricted in this spot. I have a lot of options. And then, in terms of positioning here, where am I relative to my team, I kind of covered that. And escape route. So that's the other thing I think about constantly is when I'm in Rumble, is if I'm looking for an engagement over here on the left, and let's say I get that engagement, or I think I'm going to get an engagement over here, do I have a plan to get out if I know I'm going to lose it? Say he comes with heavy or super, since those are both very prominent in PvP right now. Do I have a way to get out of that? If I'm right here, probably not. I can make this run, but if they have heavy or super, they're probably going to be able to reach me. So that's one of the downfalls of that spot. That's just an example of something I think about in where I'm using cover, is what's my escape route? What's the advantages of the escape route? What are the disadvantages of the escape route? Does it lead me back to my team? That's a huge one. Is, okay, let's say I have a really successful escape route, but where's it bringing me? Am I going back to my team, or am I using it to flank the opponents to get an upper hand on them? And that sort of thing. So it's all good and well to disengage from a gunfight and save your life, but where you end up after that disengagement is just as important. And then any resources you have that can slow down or delay someone pursuing you. And right here's not a great example. Let's go up here. Yeah, grenades 1. I really love smoke for this. So if I know that I'm kind of going to be fucked and there's a tunnel type situation, what I'll do is, if I'm gunslinger, I'm putting my swarm grenade right here and running through. Because they'll have to push it, and if I start hearing those ticks go, I'm turning around with my shotgun and I can hit them from a longer distance now that they're damaged. I'll do something like that. Or I'll throw my smoke down right here and then keep running. They can't get through that. Let's assume that they can't just walk around that in this scenario. Over here, this is for, I don't know, a great example. I have my tether up. Oh, I didn't change the timer. I have my tether up, so is the whole team chasing me? Is it someone with a super? Is it a good idea to come here and go, oh, it's not tether. Anyway, imagine that was a tether. Is it a good idea to put that there and have them run through it? So tether's an interesting one. It's obviously not
This is
great
it.
to. It's not the best secret to be using in a competitive setting, but I still really like it as a sort of bait. So if they watch you plant the tether,
Well-fought victory.
9 times out of 10, it's going to be super effective. But if you pop a tether out of their sight line and near your team, all it's going to do is show up as a red dot on their radar. And if you're funneling them into a certain spot, it can be super effective at
I tell
stopping
everyone
them.
you're my favorite guy. Who cares?
But that's sort of
You
my
fight
thought
like an
process when I'm trying to find a place to pick an engagement. Can I get out of there? If I can get out of there, where am I going? Is it a good place to go? Am I going to just be screwed over again if I get there? That sort of thing. So it's a lot to try to think about while engaging someone. But every time you're running around the map, just in Crucible, every time you're not in an engagement, you can be taking in information like that, which is what I try to do. If that makes sense. And I think it's in our Discord, yeah. Yeah. So I guess the brings up a good point. I didn't really thinking about it this way, but if you move around the map as if you're trying to get into positions you know meet those criteria instead of trying to move to an engagement, you're probably gonna win a lot more engagements doing that. So like I see red on the radar, I'm not necessarily gonna run straight to him. I'm gonna run to a spot where I know he'll likely end up, or I have an advantage based on my prior map knowledge of how the movement of the other team's going to work by seeing red on that radar. So we'll touch on that a little bit here. We're going into Altar of Flame, and it's a really good example for, especially in Control, of how you can do that. Because if you see red in the middle ring or inner ring, don't go to it. Just set up and we'll transition this into a team setting now. I hate Rumble in this match. I don't really want to.
Rumble.
No, not B flag. The where inside heavy spawns. I guess old inside heavy. Yeah. Her. Okay. So obviously, two popular setups are Team A being here and Team B being steps. Knowing that, there's obviously alternates, so you can stand here in doorway. Doorway's nice for getting back to cover quickly, but you are very open to getting pushed from dark and getting naded the hell, getting naded the hell out of you, because your vertical movement's a little restricted. You're going back, but I mean, you're just very confined in here, and once people see you there, they'll target you. I don't really I try not to go there that often. And then you get here. So this one, I like this spot down here in a team setting for Control for a few reasons. You can see circuit from this side of the map, and you're pretty much guarded. If your team has a good map control, you should not be hit from the right side over here. You might get some people from Donut, but that's up to you to know if your teammates are at Donut or have sightlines on it. If they don't, go near there instead of looking this way. Sorry. And then, so if I'm over here, I can see people coming out of circuit if they want to be aggressive and make that push. That's not too common though. So I'll sit on the right side of steps, and especially when heavy spawns there, this is a really good spot. But I can duck back down, and they can't hit me pretty much no matter what. If they want to push me, I'll take my shotgun out and basically pull back a little bit and then slide up here. So instead of running straight out into the center with my shotgun like that, I'm going to go horizontally and diagonally and go this way and shotgun them if they're pushing really hard, so that I still have this piece of cover right here. And now no one from circuit can hit me. I have a chance to reposition back to here. But this spot really lends itself to, it's a very short escape route, but this is one escape route. Another one you have is just running straight back into spawn. So this one's probably the riskiest if people are coming, if they're coming in droves through curve. You probably can't make it back to this corner before they team shot you. So you can always come down here. And now, like if you're sitting here, they have no sight line until they get overextended very far. And if they're the team that overextends, you can really use that to your advantage. So let's say it's control. Go ahead. Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't always work out that way, and sometimes you just gotta take it on the chin. But there's a lot of, it's hard to call it cover because it's not really apparent cover, but there's a lot of spots you can be where your hitbox is either not possible to hit or minimal. And that's one of the reasons why I like that spot so much. The other thing is I try really hard to avoid jumping up in here ever. It's not always going to be that way. Sometimes it's necessary to come up here, but for the most part, I let other people do that and take the kills. Jesus. Yeah. Yeah. And let's say, so like right now, I'm fucked because I have a pulse rifle and a hand cannon. I can't engage anyone on B at all. Let's say I don't have a nade or smoke anymore. Basically what I would do here is, it's risky to come out here because they'll probably get a sight line on me from B down there. So I'm going to run around. I'm probably not going to win B. If my team's not there to back me up, I probably can't stop them from getting it anyway. So I'm just going to reposition. So I have a sight line here on this rock into a very small sliver of B, with very low risk of getting hit from anyone unless they're at donut. So I like this spot in case they happen to be hittable from here. If not, I keep rotating. And I'll be down here for the most part. So I absolutely hate this spot, mainly because I die a lot on it. I don't know if that's everybody else's experience, but you get a lot of angles from out here, which is yeah. So yeah, stand there, Pyro. I'm gonna show you all the places I can hit you. I got you there, and really anywhere over here. I can hit you down here and have cover in my advantage. They can hit you from donut. You can hit you from B. Now go back to that other rock. So you can see me. I'm on B. I'm probably gonna be sitting about here. It's not the greatest sightline, but you've minimized your exposure to the team while having a line of sight on the point of contention. Where's that? I can't see. Mm-hmm. You will get pinched very quickly. Yep. Let me take 2 seconds. And if there are any questions or comments, anything at all, obviously feel free. I know I've been talking a lot. You're good. Also, pro tip, I don't know if anyone, I'm sure most of you probably know this. If heavy spawns up on this wall, you can grab it from here without stepping up on the ledge. But you can't do it on the other side, I don't think. Let me see if it spawns there after I pull this heavy. I don't think it will. Yeah. Yeah. Stupid rumble. No, obviously if there's any like scenarios that you know, like for me, I suck at, let's say I spawn in garage on dead cliffs in those little doorways. I just kind of run through a door and hope I make it out alive. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wish the radar wasn't like opaque or transparent, because especially on convergence, it like matches the wall, and I'm like, I can't see anything. Oh, I hate it. I want to go back to the other raider. In year one, or the season one, it was awful, absolutely awful. It reached out so far. Yeah. Oh. It was not fun. I found a way. There was one weekend where I put Rat King on and Stompies with control jump or high jump, one of the two, and I was just like invisible half the match. It's like, I fuck your Mida. No, it was not. It was I think it might have been this one for survival here. I'm trying to find it. This I know it was this map because I died from fall damage, and I was like, "What?" I don't remember what it was. Let's see if I can replicate it. Oh, this kind of reminds me of super bounces in Halo. Well, like I hit the ceiling on that thing. That's absurd. Absolutely crazy. Yeah. 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 And I can experiment with different formats. It did sort of feel like a lecture. I don't know what I'll change something about that. I want to make it a little more interactive, but I really wanted to stress the cover points. What map? I'm trying to think of. Yep, that's exactly what I was picking. Good choice. This is a good one where you can decide or show what positions are punishable just from playing it. Man, I feel like such fucking ass right now. Yeah. I'm so annoyed because I like never get sick. But when I do, it's like debilitating. When it rains, it pours. I'm gonna have to like dump my controller in hand sanitizer when I get better. This is lucky. I've had like one day off. But January's slow as shit, so my vacation's coming soon. I don't know. We can run it. Yeah, if you see him, just gentleman's rule, I guess. Don't you? No heavy, but supers are fine. Supers will be good for kind of demonstrating escape routes and stuff, or practicing escape routes, I guess. If you can find something that meets that criteria, go for it. Man, this is taking a while. What's it say on y'all's screen? Probably gonna get error coded because I'm like, it's like regular orbit screen but with no menu. see what happens if I do this. Oh, I can't even do that. Yep, neutered. Looks like we're gonna stay together. Nice. Alright. Did it save my settings? No, it didn't. Awesome. Again? What is happening? Pyro, nothing personal. I just want to see something. Nah, I boot Pyro for a second to see if changing people. And what do you know? Sorry, Pyro. We'll invite him back once he gets back.
Rumble.
Not a good trade. I wanted one of those kills. Y'all trading again? God damn it. Come here. Come here. Mm-hmm. Come here, Telesto. What? The inner accuracy. No way. No, don't shoot me! No! No worries.
Delightful!
So that was the thing. What? I could hate Telesto. Mom! Oh! I don't know. Hi, Vickers.
Only 5 minutes left.
Yep. Yeah. I exclusively hit fire chaperone. Oh, that was mine. Get back here. Ah. Okay, this one doesn't have slide shot, that's embarrassing. This is really embarrassing. This is not my Badlander.
2 for 1.
Ah.
Three minutes remain. Your third.
Wait, what? Ow. My kills. Oh, Hey, it's
You have my respect, Hunter. One minute remains. You're in second.
We won't talk about that. So did I. Oh.
30 seconds left. You're in second. Ten seconds.
No.
Overtime. Let's do this. Double down. You're in first place. You've taken everything. First place goes to you.
That was good. That's exactly what you got to do if you get Luna. If you don't have Luna, just turn around and run.